Caught my wife cheating through a smartwatch notification they forgot to turn off. I never thought I'd find myself in this situation. My wife, Emily, and I have been married for 8 years. I truly believed we had a solid relationship. We had our ups and downs, sure, but who doesn't? We were partners in every sense of the word, or so I thought. Last week, I got home earlier than usual because a meeting at work was cancelled. Emily wasn't expecting me, so when I walked in, I noticed she was on her phone and her smartwatch was buzzing non-stop. She quickly put the phone down and greeted me like nothing was amiss. At first, I didn't think much of it, but later, when her smartwatch buzzed again, curiosity got the better of me. Emily had left her smartwatch on the kitchen counter while she stepped into the shower. As I passed by, I noticed a preview of a message that made my stomach drop. It was from someone named Ben, and it said, "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you." The preview also included a heart emoji. My heart started pounding. I stared at the watch for what felt like an eternity, debating whether I should look further. I knew it would be crossing a boundary, but I couldn't ignore what I'd just seen. My gut told me something wasn't right, so I tapped on the message. What I found was devastating. The messages were explicit and left no room for doubt about what was happening. Emily and Ben had been seeing each other for months. There were plans for future meetups, reminiscing about their previous encounters, and even a mention of how they had to be more careful because I might catch on. It felt like a punch to the gut. I put the watch back where I found it and walked out of the house to clear my head. I couldn't confront her right then. I needed time to process everything. Over the next few days, I started noticing all the little signs I'd ignored before. The sudden increase in girls' nights out, the guarded phone, the extra effort she'd been putting into her appearance. It all made sense now. The hardest part was acting like everything was normal while I figured out my next steps. I scheduled a meeting with a lawyer to understand my options. I also began gathering evidence, screenshots of the messages from her smartwatch, bank statements showing, unusual charges, and even a few receipts I found in her purse. I'm still reeling from the betrayal, but one thing is clear: I can't stay in this marriage. Emily's actions have destroyed the trust and respect that once held us together. I plan to confront her soon, but I want to be fully prepared for whatever comes next. For now, I'm taking things one day at a time. I never imagined my life would take this turn, but here I am, trying to figure out how to rebuild from here. Have any of you been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1. After taking some time to process everything and prepare, I decided it was finally time to confront Emily. I couldn't live with this charade anymore, and I needed answers, though I wasn't sure if I'd get the truth. I'd spent the past week quietly gathering evidence and consulting my lawyer to ensure I was fully prepared for whatever storm this confrontation might bring. I waited for Emily to come home from one of her so-called girls' nights. She walked in, all smiles, carrying a shopping bag, but her demeanor changed when she saw me sitting at the dining table with her smartwatch in my hand. I motioned for her to sit down. At first, she tried to play dumb, asking what was going on, but when I opened the smartwatch messages and read a few of them out loud, her face went pale. She started crying, begging me to let her explain. According to her, the affair just happened because she felt neglected and unappreciated in our marriage. She said Ben was just someone who made her feel seen again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Neglected. I've spent the past 8 years working hard to build a stable life for us. Every decision I made was for our future. The vacations, the anniversary gifts, the endless support through her career changes. It was as if all of that meant nothing. But here's the kicker. She claimed the affair was just physical and didn't mean anything, as if that somehow made it better. When I asked her how long it had been going on, she admitted it started 6 months ago, shortly after she met Ben through a mutual friend. Apparently their encounters happened during those girls' nights, or whenever she claimed she was, working late. It was gut-wrenching to hear her nonchalantly detail how she had deceived me time and time again. I told her I'd already spoken to a lawyer and had no intention of staying in the marriage. That's when her crocodile tears turned into anger. She accused me of invading her privacy by looking at her smartwatch and tried to paint herself as the victim. She even had the audacity to say, "You can't just throw away 8 years of marriage over one mistake." One mistake? This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. It was a calculated betrayal that spanned months. When she realized I wasn't backing down, she resorted to begging. She swore she'd cut off all contact with Ben and do whatever it took to earn my forgiveness. She offered to go to therapy, delete her social media accounts, and even quit her job if it meant we could work things out. But I'd already made up my mind. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and once it's shattered, there's no going back. Here's where the revenge angle comes in. While Emily was busy crying and pleading, I calmly told her that I'd reached out to Ben's wife, yes, he's married too, and shared the evidence of their affair. Emily's face twisted in shock and horror as she realized the fallout was already underway. Apparently, Ben's wife didn't take the news well. She kicked him out of their house and threatened to expose him at their workplace. It turns out, Emily and Ben weren't as discreet as they thought. I told Emily to pack her things and leave the house. She initially refused, saying it was our home, but I reminded her that it was legally mine and that my lawyer was already drafting the divorce papers. She stormed out, hurling insults and slamming the door behind her. Good riddance. Now I'm focusing on protecting my assets and moving forward. I'm still reeling from the betrayal, but knowing that both Emily and Ben are facing the consequences of their actions brings me a sense of closure. Update 2. After kicking Emily out, I thought the worst of the storm had passed. Little did I know, Emily wasn't done trying to manipulate the situation to her advantage. Over the next few weeks, she launched a full-scale campaign to worm her way back into my life and salvage what little reputation she had left. But I was one step ahead of her, and my plans for a final act of revenge were already in motion. At first, Emily's attempts were subtle. She started texting me constantly, apologizing and reiterating how sorry she was. Then, when I didn't respond, she escalated to leaving voicemails where she alternated between crying and yelling. Her messages all carried the same theme. "We've been through too much to let this end like this." She also started showing up at the house unannounced, claiming she forgot something or just wanted to talk. Each time I reminded her that my lawyer would be handling any further communication. But Emily wasn't just trying to guilt-trip me. She was also trying to salvage her public image. Mutual friends began reaching out, asking why I had kicked Emily out and abandoned her. It didn't take long to figure out that Emily was spreading lies, claiming I was overreacting to a minor indiscretion and that she was heartbroken over the separation. She even implied that I was controlling and emotionally distant during our marriage, trying to shift the blame onto me. Thankfully, I'd anticipated this. I shared the evidence of her affair with a few trusted friends, screenshots of the smartwatch messages, and even the timeline of her girls' nights. Once the truth came out, Emily's narrative fell apart. People started distancing themselves from her, and she quickly became the subject of gossip. Her attempts to paint herself as the victim only made her look more desperate. Meanwhile, things were spiraling out of control for Ben. His wife, Lisa, wasn't content with just kicking him out of the house. She took it a step further by filing for divorce and notifying his employer about the affair. Since Ben and Lisa worked at the same company, this caused a major scandal. Ben was placed on administrative leave while an internal investigation was conducted. Word got out about his infidelity, and his professional reputation took a massive hit. Emily tried to reach out to Ben during this time, but he completely ghosted her. According to a mutual acquaintance, Ben blamed Emily for ruining his life and wanted nothing to do with her. It was poetic justice. Both of them had destroyed their lives for a fleeting affair, and now they were left to deal with the wreckage. While Emily was busy trying to salvage her crumbling life, I was busy finalizing my own plans. My lawyer helped me secure a solid divorce settlement. that ensured Emily wouldn't see a dime more of my money. Since we didn't have kids, and the house was in my name, she had no legal claim to it. The court also sided with me on the division of assets, thanks to the evidence I'd provided about her infidelity. But I wasn't done yet. Remember how Emily flaunted her affair on social media, posting pictures of her lavish dates with Ben? I decided to turn the tables. With the help of a friend who's skilled at digital marketing, I created a small website that detailed the timeline of Emily and Ben's affair, complete with screenshots of their incriminating messages. I kept it anonymous and factual, ensuring it didn't cross any legal boundaries. The website wasn't publicized widely, but I sent the link to a few people who had been affected by their actions, including Ben's wife and some of their colleagues. The fallout was immediate. Emily's reputation was completely destroyed. People in her social circle began cutting ties with her, and she became a pariah at her workplace. She eventually had to quit her job due to the whispers and side-eyes she faced daily. As for Ben, he lost his position at the company and was forced to take a much lower-paying job elsewhere. They had gambled everything for their affair, and now they were both paying the price. It's been a few months since all of this went down, and I feel a sense of peace I haven't felt in years. I've been focusing on myself, hitting the gym, picking up hobbies, and reconnecting with old friends. I even started dating again, though I'm taking things slow. Trust will take time to rebuild, but I'm optimistic about the future. As for Emily, I've heard she's been couch surfing and struggling to find stability. She reached out one last time, sending me a long rambling email about how sorry she was and how she hoped we could at least be friends. I didn't bother responding. She made her choices, and now she has to live with the consequences. Revenge might not heal the pain of betrayal, but it's satisfying to know that justice, both legal and social, was served. Do you think I went too far? Or did Emily and Ben get exactly what they deserved?